Alright, welcome back to Real Bass Fishing. Your host, Glenn, with the City of Allen Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, what are we doing for you? Well, we got a little rain delay. Plan was to try doing a live stream every day. If I couldn't do a live stream, I was going to go and do a rebroadcast. Got that new setup for IRL streaming and whatnot, and it's been fun so far. But on these rain days, what to do? Well, I just pull out the old P4 Podcaster Zoom track dilly. Right? Actually, wait a minute. I think I can flip the camera around. Right there. So I got my Zoom dilly here, and then I got a microphone. And at this point, we can get a little engagement here. And the last time I did this, I think it was like a slow go. I didn't have that many people joining, but I went ahead and just started doing some stuff on the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. So I've got it stopped at number 172. That was the last one that I had before I ended that stream. And so tonight I just want to kind of chill, go through this rain delay, and maybe get a little funsy going on later on. And then if anyone does join and wants to see that IRL setup that I put together, I can certainly do that as well. Right now, I'm just streaming directly to YouTube from the Android phone and using the YouTube app. Also, it's Prime Day, so you can probably go on Amazon and maybe see a few things there that might be of interest for folks that want to check that out as well. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to make sure. Oh, let me see. I think I can start a Q&A. Nah, I don't want to do that. Let's do chat filter, top messages. No. Trying to find where I can say hi. Man, I don't think I can answer. I don't think I can say anything on here. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, here. Maybe I can go on here and see. Let's see. If I go onto the YouTube app on my iPad, I might be able to say hi. Maybe not. Let's see. All right, looks like someone joined. Howdy. Just doing a little rain delay, little podcasting deal here. Just kind of seeing what engagement we can get today. Howdy, Preppy Gracie. How's it going? Mainly talk fishing here. And I guess these last few days, I've been hitting up some of the local ponds and whatnot, ultralight bait casting as well as fly fishing. And additionally, on these rain delay days, I'll also bring up the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing and go over some of the tips. And I just stopped at 172 at this point. Anyhow, we went and hit the Denison Dam just up the road over there in Denison, Texas. That's a tail race to Lake Texoma, and was able to get a couple of stripers, not some big ones. We were fishing closer to the dam versus further away. And what we noticed was, it wasn't as good as normally do. Good. How about you? I caught a 3-pound large mouth bass. Nice. Nah, not gotten a 3-pounder lately. I think the biggest one I got so far was maybe a 2-pounder, hitting up these local ponds and whatnot. What were you using in the case of that 3-pound large bass? What lure technique would be good to know. Over here, last night I did a little quick trip and got them on a hula popper, ultralight bait casting style. In fact, I still have the pole and a combo in my pickup truck right now. And I think in that one, I was also using that IRL live streaming setup. I think I showed it previously. Let me grab it real quick. All right, here we go. So this is the setup that I've been using for creating basically my own little travel router network right here. Okay. All right. And what I do is I'm streaming from my phone using my hotspot on the Samsung Galaxy S22 connected to my Osmo Action Camera 4 DJI. Yeah. Using a MIMO app, and that's staying on the 5G. It works well when it's just straight 5G, but I don't have anything else connected to it. So I wanted to be able to stay engaged with everyone. So I got this, which is a USB tethered modem connected to a travel router, and it's got its own power bank here, and this creates a travel network, and that is when I connect an old Android phone so that I can get to the chat right here, okay, on an old Galaxy 5, I think. See, a baby frog and negligent. I'm not sure what negligent is, but I know a baby frog, so you were working the top water, it sounds like, so that's where I got them on that hula popper yesterday. Had several other hits, but unfortunately I only got the one. Anyhow, yeah, outstanding. Let's see. It was Bonham Lake, somewhere in the Illinois River. Okay, cool. Illinois River, nice. So what state is that? Illinois, or are we talking maybe the lower Illinois River over there in Oklahoma? I fished that particular location for all kinds of fish, but in particular trout, since it is a year-round fishery in Oklahoma. And then while that's happening, let's see. Let's go to the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. Okay. So what happens is let's see, the past few days, urban pond fly fishing, urban pond fishing. Hit up the tail race up at Denison. This weekend, I'm thinking maybe, depending on the weather, maybe do some kayak fishing, or maybe hitting up some other, maybe Denison Dam again. It was Paradise, something, can't remember, but it was in the lower. Okay, cool. All right, nice. Lower Illinois River. Love it. Let's see. The last round we went, I was catching trout, and it was on a tandem rig using a streamer, a lead streamer fly, near deer, woolly bugger, and then I had a trailing squirmy worm that I made from the little squishy toy, and they were mainly hitting the squirmy worm over the streamer, and that seemed to work. All right. So let me go over number 172, Damsel in Distress. All right, and I'm just reading right out of the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. And what I like doing is I read a particular tip, read through it, see if it makes sense, and then we'll just call it out. And then maybe see if you guys have any additional pointers here, because, share the knowledge when it comes to catching a fish or two. All right. So, damsels in distress. Perhaps this happened to you. You're fishing a quiet lake or a pond, and you pushed out near the tops of your waders and make that hero cast to where you think the trout are. At some point in this process, you become aware that trout are swirling behind you, between you and the shore. Chances are you're waded smack into the middle of the emergence of damselflies, among the most common and perhaps least utilized of the aquatic insect species. We all know about these fairy-winged insects that flit around the margins of still water, but few anglers realize the importance they play in the diet of trout and the sensational action they can provide. Let's see, we occasionally see trout leaping for the fluttering adults. Indeed, an imitation of a winged damsel sometimes prompts explosive strikes from trout keyed to the surface. But it's a surface migration of the mergers that holds the key to more enduring success. A bit of entomology is in order. A member of the same order as dragonflies, damsels spend most of their lives as developing nymphs amid aquatic vegetation, still or slow-moving water. When a biologic signal arrives, usually in May and early June, they begin a swift and deliberate migration towards shore, Using flagella in their tails, which also contains the gills, they wiggle rapidly toward the closest object connected to the surface, shed their exoskeleton, and emerge to the flight. Excuse me, in the flight form. It's the jaunt to shore that's so important to anglers. Trout congregate in the shallows to intercept these 2-inch long insects, often becoming absolute fools for imitation, strip briskly to imitate the erratic path of natural damsel emergers, common in 2 basic colors, olive and brown. Make sure to always have some in your fly box. Speaking of damselflies, I typically tie my own using a streamer hook, 2 marabou plumes, and a bead chain eyes. Bead chain meaning it's the same one that you get from a pull chain from, let's say, a hanging ceiling or whatnot. I just snip it. In fact, I think I have some over here. Let me grab one. All right, yeah, I do. Okay, that's it right there. All right, all I do is I'll take my wire cutters, snip off. So there's 2, like so. Okay. And then that is what I use to make that damsel eyes for the damsel fly. Okay. And he weights it down so that the fly rides hook up. And yeah, I have to admit that I like having damselflies in my fly box, in particular for trout fishing, yes, but even more for bass fishing or pond fishing in general. A lot of times you'll see me out there where I'm hitting an urban pond, suburban pond, community pond, lake, etc. And that damselfly seems to be producing. And what I notice is when I'm fishing that damselfly, I will do these short pull retrieves where I've got the let me grab a fly rod. All right, I got one. This is a Cabela's TQR 5.5, but it's actually 5 foot because I broke the tip one time, and now it's a 5 foot fly rod. Okay, little 4-weight. All right, what'll happen is I'll be fishing it, and I'll do these short pulls on the line like so, and I'm watching again for any movement of the fly line to indicate a strike. Typically with damselflies, I'm not using a strike indicator. It's just straight fishing, no indicator, and I'm mainly looking for the line as well as the end of my fly line. Here, let me go grab a fly reel real quick too. Actually, wait, I got something. All right, I'm back. All right, this is a little micro fly rod that I made out of an old pen rod. The pen meaning the pen toy, whatever thing you can pick up, and it collapses. Okay. All right, here, this is one I used to keep in my little backpacking kit as well as work backpack because hey, you never know when you're going to be able to do a little fishing. So it's good to have it handy while you're out there. Excuse me. All right, so here it is. Okay, and what I'm saying is I'll do these short pull retrieves like so, where you got to make sure you have your finger and the line like so. Okay, when you're stripping the line in like so. Okay, and you get a strike, you want to lock that line in place when you set the hook, and you do a strip set. Okay, so you're pulling back and then locking in on that fly, keeping your rod tip low while you're fly fishing. A lot of times I'll see folks out there, they'll be holding their rod tip up high, and they'll be fishing away what you want to do is keep it low, like so. All right, keep it low in the water. Keep a little strip set like so. Short retrieves. You see that line indication of a strike. It could be a hesitation in the line. It could be the actual line pulling out. It could be the line actually getting slack and coming in. You see that? When in doubt, just set that hook, okay? So that was the passage, or at least the tip on damselflies, okay? That was tip 172 out of the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, okay? Next one is 173, seeing double. And it's an open forum. If you got any questions, comments, any call outs, you want to just recognize something, maybe give a tip or two, certainly just throw it out there. I've got time. It's one of those nights where rain delay, couldn't go fishing today, so can't really show you what I fished or how I fished that given day, but we can really talk about fishing in general. All right, and while we're doing that, we can have a little something. 8% cranberry seltzer. Doesn't taste very good, but I like the 8% piece. All right. Okay, so back to Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, 173, seeing double. Okay, I'll read it and then we'll call it out. Let's see. Seeing double. Despite the increased likelihood of tangles and snarls, double or even triple nymphed rigs are gaining popularity. Why? Because you've just doubled or tripled the chances that you have something tied to your line a fish might try to eat. That makes sense. Okay. The standard reasoning is to use large tractor of fly, a large attractor fly, usually weighted closest to the fly line. Allow for at least a 9-inch spacing to your trailer fly, a smaller nymph that imitates the prevailing insect. A split shot or two above the lead fly completes the rig. Typically, a fish moves on the attractor, and if that proves unsatisfactory, switches to the trailer. Don't despair about casting this catastrophe and waiting. It can be done. Avoid trying to fling it for distance. The key is to accelerate the delivery so the leader and all its accoutrements completely turn over and land in a straight line on the water. All right, seeing double, triple, etc. I'm guilty. I will typically fish a tandem rig. And like it says, I have a lead streamer fly heavier than the trailing fly. And in the case of the trailing fly, it's usually something small, a midge, sometimes a Griffith's net. It's a dry fly, but I'm fishing it wet. For some reason on the Blue River when I fish Oklahoma, that one particular time in the year, they just seem to be wanting to hit that little thing. So, hey, I'm not going to argue with the trout. As long as he's striking, I'm willing to set the hook on it. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's see. And like it says, the fish will move to the attractor fly. So they'll see that lead fly. It's big and juicy. It's got their interest. They'll come look at it. And then they'll kind of lose interest and say, well, no, that's not really what it. And then they'll see that little tiny piece of morsel, something going by, your midge, your other fly, another nymph or something, and they strike it. So, hey, I've had limits because of that tandem rig technique. So keep that in your back pocket. Seeing double, 173, seeing double out of the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. All right, I'm gonna stop at 174. I wanna see if I can get you to the beginning of the book so I can show you the cover, the front cover. I used to have the hard copy version of it, and it got lost during one of my many moves when I was in the service. And I have since gone to the Kindle version right here, the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. Okay. By Kirk Dieter and Charlie Myers. And I've read this multiple times over the years. And I would say, let me see if I can find where we were in the 74. Okay. I would say right before the trout fishing season or trout stocking season, I'll tend to I'll tend to come back and go and read through this again. And I did start this podcast series or whatever series, basically going over these things. Holy cow, 76. We already made it to 172. So let me see if I can find it here real quick and get back to it. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's a placeholder. Okay, 173 is where we stopped. No, 174. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I like having this book handy. I've got it in the Kindle version because I lost the hard copy many moves and years ago. And yeah, when I read through it, there's a lot of times it'll just, I'll remember something from a past trip, and I'll remember, oh yeah, it does work. All right. And all right, so let's go to 174. Color coding. Color coding. Okay. How fish see colors is primarily affected by the amount of light entering the water. The less light, the less visible some colors become. The shortest ways, blue and green, are absorbed slowly, while reds are absorbed quickly. As a rule, choose blue and green for deep water bait fish patterns or in areas where the water is murky. Also consider that red is the most visible and in some cases most vital color for aggressive predators feeding in shallow water. Many say that the red closely imitates the flared gills of alarm bait fish, which can trigger a fast response from feeding trout. Okay, well, let's see. I do like having red as part of my fly in some cases, especially if it's mimicking a bait fish. Let's see. The blue-green, shortest waves, absorb slowly, so deeper water as well as murky. Okay, that does make sense. Okay, I'm for that one. 175 or 174 color coding. Okay, which also takes us to 175. Get the red in. All right. Get the red in. Okay. Bear with me. I'm getting a little parched. Okay. Much better. Okay. Get the red in. Some years ago, noted author and angler Robert H. Boyle conducted an experiment in which he repeatedly introduced minnows into a sizable aquarium containing largemouth bass. Half were ordinary silver shiners. The other half were shiners that had been dyed red. Through repeated tests, the bass demonstrated a profound preference for the crimson minnows. We know of no similar test for salmonids, but it helps explain why so many successful fly patterns contain a splash of red. All right, so it's just reiterating, stressing the color red again, like in the previous tip. And well, I have to agree. I do like having red as as part of my flies as well as lures and whatnot. In fact, I do have an old mural lure that we used to use on the coast, fishing for redfish and speckled trout in the flats. I used to live in the Port Aransas, or at least close to the Port Aransas area down South Texas, and able to do a lot of wade fishing back in the day. All right. In fact, here, let's do some TBT time. You see, I've got a lot of fishing gear around me, and as a rule, I'm just trying to move some stuff out of the way. As a rule, I don't get rid of anything. I just accumulate stuff, and either I lose it because it fell over from the boat or the kayak or broke or whatnot. Other than that, I pretty much maintain or hold on to everything I get. Here, let me get this here. And speaking of the Miro lure, okay, and let's see, Miro lures, the red and white, and Johnson minnows, silver, brass or gold, as well as the shaded black one or the darkened black one. And those were key lures that we use when I used to wade fish back over there in the flats back in Texas. And let's see what I'm into now. Howdy, howdy. Hi, how's it going? Just talking a little fishing, going through the Red Book of Fly Fishing, and also doing a little throwback memory time since we had a rain delay here. I didn't do any fishing today, but we usually always talk about fishing. So let me grab this real quick. Almost got it. Right here. These are the old Abu Garcia, made in Sweden, 5,000 round reel. Okay. And I used to fish this on a solid fiberglass rod. And I would fish mirror lures as well as Johnson minnows right here for fishing the oyster beds and the flats down south. And it used to be, what was it? Yeah, the mirror lure and those Johnson minnows. Those seem to be the go-to things. Please do. I'm new to fishing yesterday. I finally got my first bite and lost it. Oh, man. What gear were you using? And I always like, you got to talk gear stuff and all that. And then also, what kind of lure were you using? Okay. Anyways, this is the old round reel. All right, I've since gone to the bait finesse style reels now. And I don't think I've used these in a while. I just kind of just keep them in my little case here and just let it accumulate. I've got 2 of these, and I don't think they're hard to come by now. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Medium heavy rod, frozen anchovies. Nice. Medium heavy frozen anchovies. Let me guess. West Coast, East Coast. What location? And then let's see. Medium heavy rod, frozen size. And then what kind of reel were you using? Let's see. Spinning, surf casting, conventional. Okay. And while we're waiting, I'll have a little sip of something there. Las Vegas, Nevada, Lake Mead, spinning. Nice. Okay, so let's see, Lake Mead. I believe there's striped bass there. And the other thing is, let me think here. You might as well go check over here. Take advantage of some of this AI stuff. All right, let's see. Let's just check it out here. Lake Mead, Nevada. What fish? Here we go. What? Man, this is a pain typing this thing. I think I can just talk to it. I'll talk to it. Might as well take advantage of that. Okay. What fish is predominantly caught at Lake Mead, Nevada? Okay. Bass and rainbow trout. Nice. Okay. All right. The fish most commonly caught at Lake Mead, Nevada is striped bass. They are highly sought after by anglers due to their large size, hard fighting nature, and abundance in the lake, particularly in the areas of the Overton Arm. Striped bass were introduced in 1969, and have since dominated the fishery with some reaching weights of 35 to 40 pounds. Are you fishing from shore or are you fishing from a boat? Okay. What tactics, suggestions do you have if fishing from shore at Lake Mead? All right. Let's see what it says. Ooh, there's some good info here. Shore at the pier, okay. Fishing from shore at Lake Mead for striped bass, a predominant catch, requires specific tactics to maximize success. Here are tailored suggestions based on the lake's condition and the behavior of striped bass. Target optimal locations. Focus on areas with deep water access near shore, such as coves, points, or drop-offs. Popular shore spots include Boxcar Cove, Crawdad Cove, or near the Las Vegas Boat Harbor where baitfish congregate. Look for rocky or gravelly banks as striped bass patrol these areas for prey. Steer clear of flat, sandy beaches with little structure. Okay, so optimal locations. Wonder what kind of what the area that you were at with the pier. Was it rocky or, like it's saying here, flat sandy beaches with little structure? So that may give you an idea. And then, do these popular shore spots it calls out mean anything to you? Boxcar Cove, Crawdad Cove, or Las Vegas Boat Harbor? And they're saying that's where bait fish congregate. Okay, so those are locations. So it's kind of walking you through. Okay, first let's go to a place where there's fish before we do anything else. Okay, so the next thing is once you've located the place, let's see, Willow Beach, and yes, rocky sandy. Okay, all right, Willow Beach. Okay, and yes, rocky sandy. Okay, well, it's just this question. All right, is Willow Beach a good location for fishing? Yes, Willow Beach is an excellent location for shore fishing at Lake Mead, Nevada, particularly for targeting striped bass. Let's see. Here's why Willow Beach is a good choice and some tips for fishing there. Hey, let's see. They also release trout every Thursday from that. Oh, nice, nice. So it's a year-round trout stocking program. That's awesome. Ooh, tough decision, though. Do you go fishing or maybe, enjoy some of the beach fun, too? Because I believe Lake Mead has some pretty good summer activity. All right. Okay. All right, cool. Nice. All right, so let's see. Why Willow Beach is a good fishing spot. Located on the Arizona side of Lake Mead from below Hoover Dam, Willow Beach benefits from cold water releases from the dam, creating a unique fishery. The cooler water supports stocked rainbow trout year-round. All right, nice. While striped bass are abundant due to the presence of bait fish like shad. The area has clear, deep water close to shore, ideal for striped bass at patrol drop-offs and channels. Okay, nice. That was your third visit there. Okay, cool. Let's see. It's one of the few areas in Lake Mead where shore anglers can consistently access deep water without a boat. All right, so it sounds like you got a good spot. So let's just focus on the Willow Beach then, and then we'll go back and see what it talked about on some of the other suggestions when fishing Lake Mead, okay? So talking striped bass, abundant from shore, especially in spring and fall. Fish in the 2 to 10 pound range are common. That's nice. With occasional larger ones. Trouts, rainbow trout, stocked regularly by Willow Beach National Fish Hatchery, making a hot spot for trout fishing, especially in the cooler months. Largemouth, smallmouth, and catfish can be caught also, adding to the variety. Scenic and reliable conditions. Looks like consistent water flow from the dam keeps the area fishable even when the water levels fluctuate, and then cliffs and clear water make it a pleasant spot for anglers. All right, so good stuff. Sounds like if you don't catch anything, you can enjoy the scenery and enjoy the nature, which in my case, nature's always feels better when I have a fish on the other end of my line. But that's just me. Okay, let's go to fishing tactics for Willow Beach. Okay, for striped bass, use cut anchovies. Okay, looks like you got the right bait. Sardines or live shad on a Carolina rig with a 1 to 2 ounce sinker and a 3/0, 5/0 to 5/0 hook. Cast in the deeper water near drop-offs or current breaks. Okay. First visit, learn to get a sunburn. Second, I learned to reel and set up. Third visit, I learned to cast and how to set up for the Willow Beach. Nice. End the cast. Cool. All right. You're there. You're in the place where at least there's some good fishing. And you're starting to move up in the different means you can get your fly in the, or your lure in the water or bait in the water. Let's see. It says a Carolina rig. So got my first bite, but I lost it. Okay. Well, it's saying to use a Carolina rig with a 3/0 to 5/0 hook, 1 to 2 ounce egg sinker. You're using a medium heavy spinning gear. 1 to 2 ounce should not be a problem for you. Do you know what a Carolina rig is? And then we'll go from there. I'll wait for your answer, and I'll just keep going on the rainbow trout piece where it's talking to the rainbow trout. Okay, for rainbow trout, power bait, worms, or corn on a small hook with a light sliding sinker or under a bobber works well. Trout tend to stay closer to shore in cooler water. Nope, you don't know what a Carolina rig is. Okay, well, I can tell you. All right. Let me think. Let me grab some line real quick, and I'll show you what a Carolina rig looks like. All right, I'm almost there. Headed back to Denison's side Thursday morning. Nice. Good luck there, Twisted. All right. Let's see. Weeds are really high, so I was told sinker to the tip and hook around 3 feet from the weight. Okay, so let me think. Sinker to the tip and hook around 3 feet. I'm not sure what that means. But let me show you what a Carolina rig is. All right, so according to AI, for striped bass, you're using anchovies, Carolina rig with 1 or 2 ounce egg sinker, 3/0 to 5/0 hook, cast to deeper water near drop-offs or current breaks. Okay, so here's my line. And let's see. Here is an egg sinker. Okay, and this is a 1.5 ounce. All right, and you can tell an egg sinker because it looks like an egg and it's got a hole that goes right through. All right, and you'll need your line. Okay, and then you'll need a swivel. And here I'm just going to grab a swivel, but you probably want one that's probably a lot smaller than what I'm going to be using. Actually, this one might work. Okay, this is a little barrel swivel. All right, it's one that I've used for saltwater fishing. It's pretty strong. Okay. Anyhow, let's just say this is your rod, and this is the end of my line. Okay, and I'm gonna need to get some cutting tools. Okay. All right. Here we go. So it's not saying how much line, all right, but I would start. How big is your rod? For what we do at Denison here, I'll typically use 3 to 4 foot of line. Okay. Oh, you're using those exactly. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, so this is this end of the line. Oh, I just lost it now. Here we go. This end that's on the spool here is going to simulate my rod. Okay. 7 foot rod. Okay. And what I do is I'll take the sinker, the egg sinker, and I'll run the line through it, okay? And you can use a bead, all right? And it's mainly for protection to the knot on your swivel. I don't have a bead right now, but actually I might. Nah, I do have a bead. What I'm grabbing here is I got these different little tackle boxes in different setups, and I've got a freshwater, saltwater, kayaking, ultralight bait casting, and different trays that all fit into a backpack style tackle box. And depending on what I'm targeting, like when I go to Denison, I'll grab 3 trays out of there, just throw it into a little backpack deal. Not an actual backpack, but like a bag that I can carry over my shoulder because I like to move around. And that'll have the lures and whatnot for when I'm going to fish when I'm fishing the tail race. And then I'll have another one that's set up for kayak fishing and the particular gear that I use there. So I can just grab and go. Let's say just grab this tray, head out to the kayak and go out to the lake, and I'm out there ready to go. And I have everything that I need when it comes to fishing that particular technique. So here's a bead. Okay, and all right, and I already put the egg sinker. Okay, so the egg sinker went on my line. Now I take the bead, I put it on there, and then then I'll put on the swivel. Okay, in this case it's a barrel swivel, and I'll use 2 different types of knots in this case. I may use a trilene knot, which you can look it up online and whatnot, but bottom line, it's a pretty easy one to tie. It's like an improved clinch, or it's like a clinch knot, but instead you're wrapping the line twice around, and then you're tying it like a clinch knot. Not an improved clinch knot, but just a clinch knot, and you're running it through that loop, 2 loops, one for where you put the line through in and out and whatnot. But don't worry about the knot, just look that up. Basically, I like using either a trilene knot, improved clinch knot, or more recently the uni knot. Okay? So with that, I'm almost ready to put my Carolina rig together. So what should happen is this piece right here, okay, this is going to my rod, this is the Carolina rig, this is the bead, and there's the swivel, okay? And then from there, I'll take that 3 to 4 foot. That's what I learned. Yep, that's what I learned. Okay, nice, okay. All right. So I'll start out 3 to 4 foot of line, put it on there, and then this is a 3 to 4/0 hook. This is, or 3 to 5/0 hook. This is more like a 3/0, and I'm using circle hooks in this case, okay? So at this point, you just go ahead and attach your leader, okay? And oftentimes what will happen is like this is 50-pound mono. My actual casting line is probably, let's see, with the one that I'm using for Denison Dam, it's more like a 17-pound test, 15, 17-pound test. And then I'll have it attached to a swivel. And then from there, I'll have a leader, usually heavier weight, 50-pound or maybe 20, depending on what I'm targeting. And it'll be 3 to 4 foot, and I'll adjust from there. Okay, so I'll just tie that on to the other end of the swivel. Okay, now I have that set up, and then from here you can add a snap swivel here so you can switch out your hooks. I just go straight tie and put on the hook itself. Okay, I skip the swivel unless I'm out there going to the coast, and I'll make some specific leaders with wire. So we can catch some of those big sharks and whatnot that we target when we hit the coast. Okay. All right, and I like using circle hooks mainly because the fish hook themselves. I don't have to worry about setting the hook. The main thing that when you are using a circle hook is, bear with me, I gotta move some stuff. The main thing that when I'm using a circle hook is like you want to make sure you keep this hook and this gap open. All right, so before I started learning incorrectly, I was fishing it like, God, I forgot where I put my scissor now. Oh, there it is. I was burying the bait in the hook into the bait, so it would just be a blob of meat and my hook buried in there and no gap or anything exposed. By the way, the fish bite bended the hook. Oh, nice. Maybe go with a bigger one. All right, because it was probably a big one. And what size hook were you using? And was it the thin wire one, or is it the forged one? This is a forged steel one. This one will catch. This one has caught, 200-pound stingrays. Okay. Let's see. The main thing you want to do is you want to put your bait, in this case that anchovy, you put it on here and make sure you have this gap and that hook point exposed. All right. Like what I'll typically do is I'll take a, let me see if I can simulate a fish. Okay. Let's say I'm on the coast and I'm fishing maybe some a chunk of some whiting or something, or mullet. Okay. All right. Let's say that's a chunk of mullet. All right. I'm not gonna bury the hook into it and it ends up like this. Okay. Instead, I'm gonna pop it through like so, and it's just gonna hang like this. And this gap will be exposed and the fish will be exposed. Sometimes you can pop it all the way through its back, let's say, and take it through so it looks like so. And then cast it out there. And when the fish takes it, he'll eat it. And don't set the hook. Let the fish set the hook. Okay, the main thing with fishing circle hooks is keeping your line tight. So with that Carolina rig, what'll happen is you'll cast it out, okay, and that's the beauty of the Carolina rig, is you'll cast it out and that weight, here, let me fix this real quick. Oh, you hear that? That's my grandson. Maybe I'm talking too loud. Oof. Okay, can't talk too loud. I'm not sure the size because it was a gift from another guy that went fishing as well. Okay. Let's see. It's saying go look for a 3/0 to 5/0 hook, circle hook. All right. Go to the local bait shop, even and ask them and see if they've got any suggestions as well. But the beauty of the Carolina rig is you cast it out and you set your line and keep it tight. Okay, no slack in the line. When the fish comes, this will be kind of moving about in the current or whatnot, or just sitting there. He'll come up, he'll take it, and he'll start moving away from where that weight is and take the slack out of the line. And as he moves away and you keep the tightness, that tightness in your line, he's going to basically keep tightening and tightening the line itself. And as he's eating it, the hook and will eventually move to his edge of his mouth. And as long as you maintain the tension on the line, he's going to hook himself. And all you really need to do, instead of pulling back like a J hook and setting the hook, just tighten up on the line and let him hook himself, and then basically hold on at that point. Okay. Grandson wants to learn about fishing too. I got two, and one's got many poles right now. He can pick any one. I'll let him have it. Anyways, I mean, he still needs to grow a little bit more. All right. I'm a young grandfather. All right. If you know what I mean. All right. Anyhow, that is a Carolina rig. So getting back to your question about other tips based on our AI-ness here. Okay, so, bear with me. Let me jump back to it again. Okay, so we talked about the anchovy, sardines, or live shad on the Carolina rig with a 1 to 2 ounce egg sinker. I was showing you a 1.5, and it's saying a 3/0 to 5/0 hook. I strongly suggest using a circle hook. Okay, and like I said, don't set the hook on a circle hook. Just let the pressure, let the fish take it out, and he will hook himself. Okay, when it comes to lures, try swim baits, 4 to 6 inch shad patterns. You know what this is sounding like? This is sounding a lot like the stuff that we're doing at Denison Dam. What do you think, Twisted? All right. Top water plugs, Zara spooks, poppers, silver spoons, cast masters during dawn or dusk when stripers feed near the surface. Okay, so depending on the time of day that you go to Lake Mead, you might want to play it by ear as well on some of the lures that you're using. Technique: cast far and very retrieve, steady or stop and go. Night fishing with the glow-in-the-dark lures or bait under lights can be productive. Okay. With the rainbow trout, it talked about power bait and whatnot. It talked about small spinners, meps or panther martins or spoons in gold or silver, cast parallel to the shore or into the current seams. Okay, that makes sense. So where you're fishing for those trout and all that, look, like it's saying, cast parallel to the shore. So I tend to fish a pond where I'm fishing at an acute angle, if not parallel to the shore. The meps, panther martin, that's always good. Panther martins tend to have a easier spin. When you're fishing, it doesn't take much, and you can fish them slow. Billy Cole, what's up? How's it going? We're just talking some fishing, going over some suggestions. In particular, the current question is about fishing Lake Mead. All right. Timing wise, early morning, late evening is best for striped bass due to low light feeding activity. Trout are active throughout the day, especially after stocking events. Let's see, March through May, spring and fall, September, November are peak seasons. Okay. While trout fishing is good year-round, especially in winter. Tackle, use 7 to 9 foot medium heavy spinning rod, 15 to 20 pound test line for stripers. For trout, 6 to 7 foot rod with 6 to 10 pound test. Okay, so sounds like the 7 foot is sounding good. Let's see. Oh man, you got to go back. Your lunch break is over. All right, well, hopefully this helps. I just went into AI and just asked it some questions, so some good stuff here. Kind of makes me want to go to Lake Mead and do some fishing. Woo! Good luck there. Thanks for joining. All right. Let's see. Any other questions, comments, and whatnot anyone has? All right. Okay. We'll give it a few. And while we're here, let me go back to the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing again. And let's see if I can get into... Let's see, the next one, and then maybe we'll just play with it, okay? I want to be fishing, not at work. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have the same issues. I'll be bumming again tomorrow when I have to do my day job. All right. All right. Let's go to 176. Okay, back to the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. And again, I have time tonight. If you have any questions, call it out. Maybe some suggestions and all that. Definitely do. I'm watching the chat and certainly want some engagement with folks out there. Can always learn about fishing on my end. I'm learning things all the time, so I'm open to all kinds of suggestions. Just talk fishing though. All right. Okay, 176 Sharpie Thing. Along the lines of adapting flies on the move and in the river, a guide, John Flick of Durango, Colorado, often carries a black Sharpie permanent marker in his pocket. When he finds that the tan caddis are overmatched by black caddis flies on the river, for example, a few strokes of the pin changes the fly color and puts him right in the game. A few dabs on a PMD can also make that mayfly pattern something completely different. Wow, I didn't know that. Holy cow. I keep a Sharpie, but I mainly keep it when I'm out jug lining because I need to go rewrite some of the numbers on my jugs. But oh, that is a good idea because I've had it before where I had a tan or some other off-color fly, but I needed that dark black one. That's a good idea. Sharpie thinking. Right? Fishing is fun. Best part, there's no phone signal down there, so no one can bother me. Nice. All right, cool. Okay, let's see. We can keep going in a little red book, or I can open it up again if you have any questions. What we did just a moment ago was take advantage of AI and see what some suggestions are for a particular location to fish. In this case, the question was on Lake Mead, and it seems to give us some good information. How about stripers in Lake Marion, South Carolina? Well, let's try it real quick. Okay. See if it rings a bell and it how true or untrue AI can be. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's try this. Okay. Stripers, Lake Marion. What are suggestions and tips for fishing for striped bass at Lake Marion, South Carolina? Okay, here goes. I'll read it out here in a moment. It's still working up a reply. All right, here we go. Wow, it's a long one. All right, let's try it. Fishing for striped bass at Lake Marion, South Carolina can be exciting and rewarding experience due to the lake's thriving striped bass population and unique underwater structure. Below are detailed suggestions and tips to help you maximize your success tailored to the specific conditions at Lake Marion and its striped bass fishery based on available information and insight. Okay, it gives a general overview. Okay. Lake Marion, part of the Santee Cooper Reservoir System in South Carolina's largest lake, covering 110,000 acres with over 300 miles of shoreline. It's renowned for its striped bass fishery, which was established when stripers were landlocked during the lake's creation in 1941. The fish adapted to freshwater, spawning in tributaries like the Congaree and Wateree rivers, making Lake Marion a unique destination for striped bass anglers. Behavior: striped bass in Lake Marion prefer cooler waters and are often found in deeper channels or near baitfish schools. For example, threadfin shad, gizzard shad, or blueback herring. They migrate seasonally, moving up rivers for spawning in spring and schooling in open water during fall and winter. Then it goes into some seasonal fishing tips. Let's see. March through May, there's a migration and spawning portion where striper move through Diversion Canal and up the Congaree and Wateree rivers for their spawning run. Focus on river channels and deeper holes in upper Lake Marion. Okay. Baits and techniques: live herring or cut bait, shad or menhaden is highly effective. Use 8 to 9 foot free spool reels, 20-30 pound test line, terminal tackle 1 to 2 ounce sliding sinkers with 5-aught or 6-aught offset hooks, and an 18 to 24 inch leader. Locations: target the upper end of Lake Marion near Sandy River confluence or the Diversion Canal connecting to Lake Moultrie where stripers congregate. All right, does that sound right? Spring, May, is that what happens normally? March through May time frame. Okay, so here's summer right now, June through September. Okay, you got some regulations here. It's unlawful to target or harvest striped bass from June 1 to September 30 in Lake Marion to protect the population during warmer months when they seek deeper and cooler water. So right now you can't fish for them? June 1. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, bummer. Okay. So alternative: if fishing during this period, focus on other species like largemouth bass or catfish, as stripers are less accessible and protected by regulation. Is that true? It's a closed season, basically, June through September. Let's see. October, November, looks like it opens up. Striper school and chase gizzard shad, often surfacing, especially in October, looking for flocks of seagulls feeding on shad, indicating striper activity below. Avoid running over schools to prevent spooking them. Let's see. Baits and techniques. Use topwater lures or poppers when stripers are surfacing. For deeper schools, fast-sinking lures like spoons or bucktail work well. Drifting with large shiners is also productive. Location, focus on open water in the main lake or near the diversion canal where stripers chase bait fish. Looks like winter, December through February, is a prime time, especially January. Best times for big stripers in Lake Marion. Okay. They move in deeper water but remains active and often relating to schools or bait fish. Okay. Drift or troll from baits and techniques. Going back to locations, lower end now and the diversion canal are still productive as stripers congregate in the deeper channels. Then it calls out some key locations: diversion canal, Sandy River confluence, the Stumphole Swamp, and open water and channels. And then back to gear and equipment and bait. Then techniques: drifting, trolling, casting, night fishing, and then respecting schools. So when you're chasing schooling stripers, don't run over them with your boat. And then respect other anglers' space to maintain the bite. I don't know. For fishing the local lake here, Lake Levon, for white bass, and as well as fishing for striped bass up at the Lake Texoma, I use a kayak, and I can run up next to a school. If not, they'll go around me and start boiling around me, and I've had no issues. So that's a good thing about having a kayak versus taking out the John boat where I have a motor. It will definitely bring them down. I don't know. I just moved to the area from New York City where you're able to catch stripers in just about any water around. Okay. Well, I guess maybe check on that because it looks like June to September you can't fish for them. June 1 to September 30, Lake Marion to protect populations during warmer months. And it references sandycoopercounty.org. So definitely check on that. All right. Damn, I guess I should have done some. Well, it says you can still catch other stuff there. So here, let's ask the question. All right. If I can't fish for striped bass during June 1 to September 30th, what should I fish for? Let's see what it says. Okay. It's just reiterating again about the striped bass. Harvesting or targeting them is prohibited, but there's still a bunch of other stuff you can fish for. Okay, so largemouth bass. It's known for a largemouth bass fishery. Gives some locations: Stumphole Swamps, Cypress Flats, Shallow Coves, Diversion Canal, techniques, baits, catfish. Let's see. Yeah, catfish, crappie. Crappie are good. Crappie tastes really good. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. It sounds like brim, bluegill, shellcracker. Shellcracker are pretty cool. They're pretty big. Okay, it does have some size and bag limits you got to be careful of. Largemouth bass, 14 inches, 30 crappie, 8 catfish, with restriction on large blues. Got to have a license. Shore fishing. Let's see. Looks like you got some extra things you got to watch for. So for shore anglers, try Taw Creek Park Pier, Rimini Landing, or C. Alex Harvin Landing for brim, crappie, and catfish. Largemouth bass are tougher from shore, but possible near docks or weeds. Then it talks about boat access, navigation. Are you fishing from a boat, or are you fishing from shore? And it has some guides and some other species to call out. It's similar experience in a kayak on Long Island Sound. Oh, nice. Yeah. Man, that's right. You guys have some awesome striped bass over there. I used to live in Rhode Island as well as Virginia Beach. And we had some good striped bass fishing there. Okay. Yeah, nice. Oh, okay. All right. I think that's it. Okay. All right, well, I appreciate you guys joining today, and it has been fun. I do like this. I kind of do these on the fly when I'm not able to do a live stream where I'm out in the field actually fishing. I either do a live stream where I'm actually there fishing with you know, you're just engaging with you on the chats, or I do a rebroadcast where I don't have good coverage, so I'll just film everything on the camera, and then I'll just kind of clip everything together and render it, and then rebroadcast it. I do very little editing other than maybe clipping them together and then rendering the video. So you'll see those. I'll call it out as a rebroadcast or a restream, and even indicate on the video pre-recorded earlier. The live streams, they're live, so you can ping me while I'm fishing. I got a means now with this travel router and USB tethered modem to it, where I can actually monitor the chat while I'm fishing. Now, I won't be able to answer every chat and pay attention to it because, you know, I'm fishing, but I certainly have the capability now to stay engaged with you, where previously when I was streaming from my action camera straight to YouTube, yeah, I couldn't have that chat capability. It was all blind, so I was getting a lot of questions and comments, and I couldn't answer them. So bummer. And then on these days when I have these rain delays or not able to get out there, I'll either do a throwback in time video and go and just repost something and just kind of stay there standing by for any comments and questions, or I'll do one of these where I just jump on here and let's talk fishing, do the open Q&A forum, and then we'll just go through the red book of fly fishing and see if we can call out any tips there. So it's been fun. All right. So anyhow, appreciate you guys joining. Stay tuned. I'll be back online again once the weather clears up, and hopefully we'll be able to catch a fish or two and, hey, keep chatting along. All right. All for now. Next time, we'll catch y'all later. Good luck and good fishing. Thank you.